Then a Sports Central, we go for a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 1 matchup between North Dakota State and Colorado. The big matchup coming up here on opening night of the season. And it's a matchup between two fun teams. North Dakota State, wouldn't be surprised if they won the FCS this season. This is a strong and dangerous team heading into 2024, and they got Colorado in Week 1. Buffs are one of the most intriguing teams in the country. Shedeur Sanders coming back. Buffalo's with a fresh start, looking forward to 2024. We'll be covering a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. So with that, let's get into it. Games be on Thursday, the 29th in Boulder. You couldn't ask for a better matchup on the Thursday night of Week 1. North Dakota State, they've kind of got the role of the dangerous team taking on Colorado, who's once again one of the most intriguing teams in the country. When you look at Shedeur Sanders, this will be an improved team in 2024. They were a 4-win team last season. I really wouldn't be surprised if they made it to a bowl game, though they do have, I would say, one of the most difficult schedules in the Big 12, so that's worth keeping in mind. But, I mean, Colorado's got some optimism. There is potential on this team for sure in year 2 of the prime era. Spread's going with Colorado by 9.5, over-under is 58.5, and the FPI is also going with the Buffs here, 71%. So, Buffs are the favorite as you would expect, but it's pretty close as well. I think many realize that North Dakota State's a dangerous team, and this will not be an easy one. This is not a given win for Colorado for sure. Your stat comparison, North Dakota State, Cam Miller coming back, who was a really strong quarterback last season. He is a strong, true dual-threat quarterback, 2,600 yards last year, passing 19 touchdowns over 4 picks. Also a 72% completion rate. He also rushed for over 600 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. So, I mean, this is going to be a fun matchup. You got Cam Miller, one of the best quarterbacks in the FCS, and Shedeur Sanders, one of the best quarterbacks in the country overall. So, I would say he's obviously a huge factor in this matchup for the Buffs, who aren't exactly the most talented all-around team. It's just they've got a couple of major standouts. Travis Hunter, Sanders in there, who's expected to be a top pick in next year's draft, and rightfully so. I mean, that's really what it comes down to for North Dakota State here, a defensive team. It's going to be tough for them to go against a talented Colorado offense led by Sanders, and it feels like, I mean, North Dakota State's really, if they can contain Shedeur and slow him down, I feel like they're going to have a chance, but that's the only way that the Bison have a true chance in this one. Your key points, North Dakota State, they're going to be an FCS contender once again. Wouldn't be surprised if they won the title in this upcoming season. Cam Miller leads a dangerous offense here. I mean, and once again, they're likely bound for a huge win. If the defense can slow down Shedeur, I feel like, Bison really have a chance in this one. And, I mean, something also to keep in mind, the Bison against FBS teams, they tend to be very competitive in matchups like this. The last time they beat an FCS team or an FBS team was at Iowa, which was the 13th ranked team in the country, by the way, at the time. Beat them on the road in 2016. I think they faced Arizona a couple of years ago. That was a close loss. They couldn't quite beat them, but bottom line, North Dakota State is dangerous against FBS teams, and that's why everyone looks at this matchup as a potential trap game for Colorado, because North Dakota State they're no joke for sure. And so for Colorado, I mean, you look back to 2023, a 4-8 season. They had a scorching start to 2023. This team was ranked decently into the top 25. It was just after that Oregon game where things kind of fell apart. But you look at this team overall, I would say they did, even though October was ugly, this team, you could see improvement in November. This defense was better, and they were actually pretty competitive against some pretty good teams last season. So even though they definitely had a pretty ugly loss or two, I would say the Buffs overall did improve, at least by the end of this season. So, I mean, you look at Shedeur, he's the biggest threat on the Buffs, obviously. Can't forget about Travis Hunter, who's just an insane athlete. But the defense was pretty inconsistent last season for the Buffs, but I would say it should improve. And if it does, I feel like Colorado is definitely a bowl team this season, because, I mean, the defense just wasn't going to happen for the Buffaloes last season, especially in such a competitive Pac-12. But I would say you compare these two teams, I mean, an FCS team versus an FBS team, obviously all the pressure in the world is on the Buffaloes in this matchup. And, I mean, you consider, I mean, for Colorado, it's a pretty difficult schedule. This could be the game that, I mean, we're going to learn a lot about Colorado in this matchup. If they can find a way to win this one, I mean, that's obviously a good start to the season, but also I feel like it brings up a lot of optimism for at least a bowl season for Colorado. But if you lose this one, especially with as tough of a schedule as they do have, I mean, 6 wins looks pretty tough for Colorado if they lose this one. So a lot more on the line for the Buffs for sure, and for North Dakota State, everything in the world to gain. So with that, let's get a prediction here for North Dakota State and Colorado coming up here on opening night of the season. This has all the makings of being a really fun matchup. I think it's going to be close, and it honestly could be one of the better games of this season. I'm going to go with Colorado to find a way here. 38-31 is what my predicted final score is. I think that we see a pretty offensive matchup here. I mean, both defenses should be improved. I mean, North Dakota State's defense is where I find the most uncertainty in this one, going up against a Colorado offense led by Shadur. And so that's where I think Colorado finds a ways with Shadur in there. And I think that North Dakota State's offense puts up some points. I think they definitely can against this defense. But I got to go with the Buffs. I feel like Shadur is going to find a way here, but I would not be surprised if North Dakota State won this one. Like, I'm going 51% towards Colorado. It's almost a toss-up. That's just how close I think this matchup's going to be. I'm taking the over as well. Wouldn't be surprised once again if we see some decent scoring, 2 good offenses facing off against. I mean, North Dakota State's defense in comparison to what they're going to face in the FCS is obviously, I would say, really good, but it is a little bit different when you're facing off against an FBS team in Colorado. So, I mean, with that said, I do think we see a pretty high-scoring game here. I'm taking North Dakota State to cover as well. I would say that's probably the best bet in this one. I think North Dakota State keeps it pretty close. It's just a matter of if they can find a way to knock off the Buffs or not. But either way, going to be a fun one coming up here on Thursday night. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this one. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. My name is Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.